So Biden has signed a new executive order to regulate firearms further and to implement more gun control. So let's talk about this. But real quick before we jump into this video, I want to thank one of the sponsors of this channel, which is TacPack. TacPack is a subscription-based box that delivers tactical and EDC gear to your front door every single month. Every month, they put together a box that has a variety of products, including things like knives, outdoor equipment, mag carriers, cleaning kits, AR parts, and a lot of other things as well. And right now, if you go to their website using the link down below in the detail section in the comment section, and if you use the code ARMED, you will receive a second free standard TacPack. So again, I will leave a link to TacPack down below in the pinned comment and also in the description section. Use that code ARMED. And again, thank you to TacPack for sponsoring this video. As I mentioned in the intro, in this video, we will be breaking down the new executive order that Biden has now signed and is trying to implement. Many of you have questions about what is actually going on with this executive order and maybe what are some of the realistic impacts of what is going on with this executive order. So in this video, we're going to dig through the executive order and talk about what actually the Biden administration is now pushing for. To start off, a lot of this executive order that Biden and his administration are outlining here has to do with the implementation of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, which was passed last year with the help of some Republicans and then was signed into law by Biden. This bill did multiple things which are important for the context of what Biden and his administration are now going to do with the executive order. First, this law made it so that now more people can be prohibited from being able to possess or purchase firearms, since the law is going to expand the access to juvenile records and incidents that occurred while someone is actually a juvenile. This law did not just target people under the age of 21. The bill and the law then went in and changed the language of engaged in the business of dealing firearms. The prior definition of engaged in business of dealing firearms included language that states you are doing so with the principal objective of livelihood and profit. This law, however, removed that and inserted instead to predominantly earn a profit. So that slight change was very important. The FFL requirement is no longer tied to someone running a business where the sales are meant to support their livelihood and for them to make a profit. Instead, now it's simply if you seek to earn any profit. But the gun control language did not just even stop there. The law then included a massive amount of federal funding that will then incentivize states to implement their own state-level red flag laws. This is a huge carrot that the federal government is now holding out to all states. And all states now have the option of getting more money if they decide to further implement their red flag laws, or for those states who don't have red flag laws to actually pass their own red flag laws. Finally, the law goes on to claim that it is closing the so-called boyfriend loophole. This section expands the prohibition on the access to firearms by anyone in a dating relationship who has been convicted of misdemeanor crime or domestic violence. The section defines the term dating relationship to be a relationship between individuals who have or have recently had a continuing serious relationship of a romantic or intimate nature. They then include factors to make that determination, including the length of the relationship, the nature of the relationship, the frequency, and also the type of interactions. But despite these additional factors, they really don't define what a serious relationship is or what type of relationship they are considering. Instead, it could be this vague catch-all, and sometimes in some situations, it could just simply be one-night stands or very short period relationships. The one thing they do say is that it does not include casual acquaintances, so that will not count under this new language. So that is the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, which set the groundwork for what Biden and his administration are now doing with this executive order. Now, a couple of days ago, Biden came out and gave a speech on his new executive order, but during that speech, he really didn't even cover anything that he's going to try to do with this or what he's implementing. Instead, it was just a bunch of talking points, pulling on heartstrings, but didn't actually say what he is planning to do. So instead, if you look at the executive order fact sheet, there is an outline of what he is doing in the executive order. First, it states that they aim to increase the number of background checks and that the administration wants to push the US towards universal background checks. First, what this means is that the Biden administration is going to simply ensure that FFLs are running the required background checks. Now, keep in mind that there was the expansion of what FFLs need to actually perform those background checks under the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. So here he's just simply saying that they're going to push that forward and implement what is said in that law. He also indicated that he will be pushing Congress to pass universal background checks. What that means is simply that they want background checks mandated nationwide for all firearms transfers and transactions, including private party transfers. Some states have already done this, like California, but they want to take that nationwide. Second, under the executive order, it states that they will promote the increased use of red flag laws. This section states that President Biden is directing members of his cabinet to encourage effective use of extreme risk protection orders, including by partnering with law enforcement, healthcare providers, educators, and other community leaders. Here, the administration will be running more programs to promote red flag laws and their use. There will also be efforts to get more states to try to implement their own state-level red flag laws. Again, this is an effort to push into action the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act and the whole red flag provisions and the funding that is included in that law. Now, the next thing is what I think Biden and his administration is really focused on. In the executive order, it says that they want to target the firearms industry and their current protections under the PLCAA. The order states that it will provide the public and policymakers with more information about how companies are quote-unquote violating the laws. Then it says that they will be commissioning the FTC to issue a public report and analyze how gun manufacturers are marketing firearms to minors and civilians. Now, the reality is that the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, or the PLCAA, does not provide blanket immunity like the left likes to claim. The PLCAA is a U.S. law that protects firearms manufacturers and dealers from being held liable when crimes have been committed with their products. Now, one important thing to keep in mind is that these companies and dealers can still be held liable for damages resulting from defective products, breach of contract, and their own criminal misconduct. So there is not a blanket immunity like the Biden administration and Biden himself likes to claim. We have also seen some states pass laws like negligent marketing laws and public nuisance laws, which also aim to circumvent the PLCAA and to sue gun makers into oblivion. This executive order aims to assist those types of actions and also provide anti-gun groups and additional other types of groups that are suing gun manufacturers. It wants to provide them additional biased research to actually support those lawsuits and actions. And finally, the order aims to mobilize FEMA and other federal assistance whenever there is a mass casualty event. So that's a rundown of what the executive order is aiming to do. In its simplest terms, it's an effort by the Biden administration and Biden himself to push forward faster for the implementation of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. A lot of what you heard Biden say during his speech and a lot of what you read in this executive order is simply virtue signaling, and it's the common anti-gunner talking points. But at its very foundation, what this is trying to do is implement the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. Hopefully that helped you better understand what is going on with this executive order. I know a lot of you guys were watching the speech live and a lot of you had questions, so that's my quick breakdown of what's going on with this executive order. If you have any questions, go ahead and comment down below and I will try to answer the best of my ability. Also, if you like this video and you would like to support the channel, one of the best ways to do that is to like, comment, and subscribe. All those things help to fuel the algorithm, and it signals to YouTube that you guys see value in these videos and in this type of 2A news. As always, I want to thank everybody who likes, comments, subscribes, who hits the notification bell, who shares these videos. You guys are directly impacting these videos, impacting this channel, and helping me to reach and educate more people than I could ever do on my own. So as always, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And never forget, this nation was built by armed scholars, and this nation will be maintained by armed scholars.